ready. Something about Hoyoverse? Something about Hoyoverse? Mr. Hero, hey? Alright, Hoyoverse just fired major English voice actors. Uh-oh! Did they do a little freaky wiki? A little frucky wookie?
Hope you guys are having a great week. Sorry for missing you yesterday. Had some personal stuff to take care of.
Me too.
But I returned today to some crazy news. We've got an update in the voice actor stuff over here on the subreddit for Honkai Star Rail. That's the Hoyoverse game for those that don't know.
I'm so ready.
We've got the title. Kalis and Stell have been officially recasted as of version 3.3. Now,
did they finally figure out how to do AI chat? Yeah. Can you make it louder? It's loud. What do you mean?
As you guys know, I do play Genshin, but I don't actually play Honkai, so I'd like to get some additional context here at gosugamers.net. We'll just spend like 30 seconds
That's fine. Turn it up,
key
chat.
areas here
It's
top,
not low.
where they
You're
say,
just deaf.
Honkai Star Rail version 3.3, The Fall at Dawn's Rise, dropped on Wednesday, May 21st, with 2 new 5-star characters in Hyacine and Cypher, Hyacine and Cypher, as well as tons of other additions. However, the update also featured a surprising change as the voice actors for the game's main character, the Trailblazer, have been replaced. In Honkai Star Rail, players embark on an interstellar journey as the male...
It's muffled compared to you. Mods! Is it actually? Let me try it. This helps us continue. No, man, it's not okay. How about now?
Or female version of the Trailblazer, commonly known by their canon names Kalis and Stell. Since the game's launch in April 2023, the Trailblazer has been voiced by Caleb Yen, Kalis, and Rachel Chow, Stell. So this is basically like the Honkai version of the Traveler in Genshin. Let's take a look and see if the voice actors who got recast have issued any statement on this yet. Hopping over to Twitter first for Rachel.
They might just not let them talk, man. Yeah, by contract, it'll be like, you can't say anything. You're getting replaced, suck it up until your contract ends.
Ciao. We can see the bio does still say ENVA for Stell. And scrolling down, there is nothing as of May 5th. That's the latest post. But her pinned tweet does say, making the jump. Follow me on Blue Sky at the same handle. Ciao for now. I'll keep Yield Twitter up so you can find me and to protect this glorious handle.
I'm so ready for the schizoing out on Blue Sky. I don't know why they run over to Blue Sky. Like, people don't see it.
Alright, hopping over to Blue Sky, we can see Rachel Chow is also here, but interestingly enough, on Blue Sky, her username is a little bit different, including she, they in the username. Interesting because on Twitter she put she, they in the bio, but over here it's in the title. I don't know. Is that a Blue Sky thing or something?
It's a cultural thing on Blue Sky. So there's no way of you getting misgendered. Oh boy.
I have no idea. But the bio does still say ENVA of Stell and Honkai Star Rail. And similarly to Twitter on this part, no activity lately and no statement issued about the recasting. As for Caleb Yen, he does also still say Trailblazer in his bio, but I don't believe he's on Blue Sky. So all we'll take a look at is this Twitter account. And there's even less activity here. Pin tweet from 2021. And the last post actually from back on December 5th, 2024. Let's actually return to the Blue Sky account for Rachel Chow, though. I found something that gives some more context. So 2 months ago, we got this Blue Sky post from Shar that says, to Rachel, so glad you could find happiness and have a great day. I miss you a whole lot in Honkai Star Rail, and I send weekly feedback requesting them to sign the interim agreement for AI protections so you and the other wonderful actors can get back to voicing our...
I've never in my life done that. Like, begging a company to bring them back. Like, a small voice actor, too. It's not like even a big actor or voice actor in a movie or something.
Beloved characters. Hope for positive news. Now, hopefully, as you know, and something we've talked about extensively on this channel for a few months now, obviously the interim agreement is about a lot more than just AI protections. That's like the whole Trojan horse thing, the whole like manipulative part that a lot of people have been criticizing the VA's SAG, the agreement for, to put it simply, of course. But I suppose I'll add on to this really quickly for anyone who may be out of the loop on this still. And essentially, one of the biggest issues is that The agreement and these VAs and SAG are trying to flip these games, Hoyoverse games and other games, to be union-only games, which would come with a lot of negative repercussions for VAs who are not a part of the union, such as forcing voice actors who don't want to join the union into joining the union and having to pay those members' dues.
My mom, when she was a teacher a while ago, probably like 6 or 8 years ago, I remember there was a whole kerfuffle about joining a union and having to pay your quote-unquote mafia dues. I didn't realize it ran that deep into like voice acting and quote-unquote artists.
Or risk being terminated from their positions, from their roles. Nevertheless, Rachel Chow responds and says, "Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
That is really so kind and helpful of you. Hoping for good news soon, too." I guess that didn't age so well, did it? Here's something really funny. So back on the subreddit Honkai Star Rail and the post that we read earlier about this recasting news, you can see a top comment here says, "So it's like Kenichi and Genshin, only new lines for now. Older will be replaced in the future. So it'll be a mix of both VAs for now. There's also lots of NPC VA changes, not even for EN, but looks like for JP also." The response saying, "We live in hope that this means we could still get a recast for Paimon."
Chat! I only played Genshin for like probably like 6 or 8 hours total before I quit. I fucking hated Paimon. I actually changed the language being spoken from English to Japanese, and I still didn't like the character. Everyone does? Good. Okay, I'm not just some fucking tourist hater. Paimon is great. What do you mean? No comment.
I will play the heck out of Genshin if they recast Paimon. Give her free runs English VA and I'm sold. So you can see that the people's dreams for a Paimon recast is still holding strong, still very much alive. Maybe more alive than ever now. An interesting point at the top about the Kenichi situation and these VAs getting replaced. I do wonder if when we see the announcement of who the new VAs are for the Trailblazers and Honkai, if we'll see, just like we saw happen to Jacob Takanashi, the new VA for Kenichi, that a certain clique of very toxic English voice actors and SAG-AFTRA bootlickers and their supporters will try and harass the new VAs too, just like they did to Jacob Takanashi. Of course, they all know very well how much backlash they got for that situation though, so perhaps this time they won't.
I'm surprised they haven't really like done anything to that Paimon VA. Does she really have that much power and control over playing a quote-unquote, like, one of the main characters that's recurrent in each patch? Or are they scrambling to, like, find an AI to, like, replace them?
Won't actually do it, even if they really want to. Maybe now they'll be scared of all the backlash that they will get from the communities and the internet at large. It's really crazy how big of bullies these people are. We literally saw some VAs on Blue Sky saying that people like Jacob Takanashi deserve to be harassed even more, and saying stuff like, "Oh, back in the good old days of unions, people used to get physically assaulted for being scabs," and trying to.
How do you type that or say that without thinking like, maybe we're the bad guys, telling people that ones that don't join? Bro, what the fuck is wrong with you? Yeah, you deserve to fucking get beat up for that shit. That's right. Join the union or else.
They make it sound like, "Oh, Jacob Takanashi got off easy, and all the fans mad at us really shouldn't be mad at all." By the way, let me also clarify something. This comment we read a moment ago that I said is a top comment is in fact the top comment in the thread, both sorted by top and also sorted by best. Come on, Reddit. What are you doing? There we go. Okay. Speaking of people upset on Blue Sky about this news and getting mad at the fans of these games, there is some stuff we'll take a look at in a moment where, there's more people mad over on Blue Sky. But first, let's hop over to the Genshin Impact subreddit. We took a look at Honkai Star Rail. Now we'll read some over on our Genshin. This post reading, the VAs for Honkai Star Rail main characters have been replaced, which we share the VA of Gaming with. So I guess he'll be replaced soon. Hey, quick side note about that. Do you guys remember when Gaming was released and people in the community were making memes about like gaming, like, wow, they really released a character in a game whose name is Gaming? And then you had a bunch of Twitter cops who are probably now in Blue Sky saying that it's very offensive to make fun of his name. Like, you guys shouldn't be doing.
But it's funny, man. It's funny. I met plenty of gay people that find it funny when it's like a pun. Gaming? Come on, it's hilarious, man.
That it's like racist. It's a Chinese name.
What?
And it was like,
these are like the people that say that the term of endearment for Onryo in Japanese. This is kind of related, but not really related. In Dead by Daylight, there's a character called Onryo that's based on The Ring. And it's a direct port basically from the book and the movie into the game. And some people think it's funny and they call her Oreo because it sounds like Onryo. It's got the same syllables. And then people got really mad on Twitter and shit saying that it's racist to say it because it sounds funny. Yeah. Yeah, I don't understand it. I thought it was a term of endearment because and she's black and white like an Oreo cookie, so it's like even cuter and like sweeter in my opinion. I don't think it's like racist at all.
One of the most brain rot stuff ever. To take it even further back, it was like when people were mad about the John Lee memes.
Bro.
Oh, you can't call John Lee. That is so problematic, guys. Oh my gosh. Now,
and to top it off, I remember when I went to school, there were so many people that had like anglified names because they got sick of people mispronouncing their names because they're difficult to pronounce for people that aren't Asian. Not even like teachers who are white or anything. I had black teachers too and Asian teachers that were of a different country, and they would just be like, "Nah, just call me John." Like, that's like their like school name, and they don't mind it. Yeah.
Look, really quick, as much like fun as I'll make at Blue Sky, which is completely justified, by the way, completely justified. I will say, as mentioned, that I have seen some like actually like cool artists on Blue Sky, so I always feel bad for the people that are on Blue Sky that just went there to like share art and stuff and are like not weird. But my gosh, man, that whole website has some serious brain rot issues.
True.
It like Twitter is still bad. But I'll say that it got a little bit better, maybe even more than a little bit better, because a lot of those sort of Twitter got people did go over to Blue Sky. That's a fact. And so, like, while the levels have balanced out a bit more on Twitter, it's like Blue Sky is completely out of balance. There's just so much brain rot there. It's crazy. But going back to this Genshin post about the VAs,
at least if you post on Twitter, you do get people who resist your opinion. Yeah, even if you post the most wholesome stuff.
Casting stuff, most of the responses at the top are responding to the question about like Gaming potentially getting replaced. But here's one that talks about VA stuff in general, saying, what are the odds for Zack and Sarah, Aether and Lumine's VAs, these being the travelers, the main characters in Genshin, to also be replaced? I would also understand if they do that, but not gonna lie, I like them so much. I'd be sad if / when that happens. Now, I don't know anything about Sarah, but I will say about Zack, I actually met him years ago, completely through chance at Anime Expo. Was walking around the exhibit hall and he came up to me. We start talking. He mentions he's a voice actor for Genos on One Punch Man, because at the time I think that was his only like notable role. This was way before Genshin. This was before Tanjiro and all that. And yeah, he seemed like a pretty cool, hardworking, chill dude.
Sure.
And I'm assuming all these years later he still is. I haven't really kept up with him, but I can only say good things from my experience with him years ago. So I'm assuming, as mentioned, he's still like that. Point being, he seems like one of the good VAs out there, and I do hope this all works out for him. Taking a little more of a look through this thread before we move on to the Blue Sky anger. This next comment reading, I just hope they won't recast Zack. Him, Zhongli, and Ito VAs are the only ones I hope don't get recast. And then this one reading, apparently we have reached the found out portion of FAFO. It's sad too. I do enjoy the current swatch of ENVAs.
You are going to enjoy it as long as you keep giving them money and they find a way to either replace you with another person who doesn't give a fuck and doesn't have a Blue Sky. Honestly, I feel like part of the problem is that these idiots have social media that they fucking read. That's half the problem. If I read every single YouTube comment, I would probably fucking freak the fuck out because people are constantly calling me names. There's a lot of positivity, don't get me wrong. But at the end of the day, it does affect your mental, and it's kind of your choice, like, on what you should do.
I really do. But at this point, the game has been
kind of
revealed. The jig is up. Everyone knows the truth about the strike and its real goal. And I'm frankly tired of having my game enjoyment held hostage by people who should have, quite frankly, known better. And
Yeah, it's
another
the end of the
comment
day, yeah.
wanting Paimon to get recast, reading, I hope they can now also recast the white flying turd we have flying right next to us.
White flying turd. Okay.
That
that's
takes
a
us
good
over to
one.
this exchange back on
They're
Twitter,
talking
where a
about
Genshin
Paimon.
YouTuber said, I really wish there was a
White
better outcome
flying
for the
turd.
English VA situation. But as soon as Hoyo started replacing people, it was evident that they were fighting a losing battle. The response reading, what's crazy about it is that Genshin and other Hoyoverse games aren't even affected by the strike in the first place. The English VAs chose not to record because they wanted higher payments or something like that, with someone else saying it's much more complicated than that, and then a different user responding saying, no, it's not. SAG actors do what SAG does and strike because of AI, quote unquote, when in reality they want absolute control over MiHoYo projects. They hide behind a facade of AI protections, Hoyo already respects AI protections, and rally everyone, including non-UniVAs. When their lies were uncovered, the higher-ups...
You said Hoyo already respects AI protections, and then they say they hide behind a facade of AI protection. They're not even, like, consistent.
SAG conveniently started enforcing their global Rule 1. Union actors cannot work on union projects. You mean on non-union projects, I think, but continuing. Holding the VAs that do want to go back to work hostage, it's not that complicated. The SAG VAs just tell you it's complicated to have you feel pity for SAG when in fact they are the problem. Another response to the initial tweet reading, who was fighting a losing battle? This is SAG's attempt to strong-arm a foreign company into complying with the scummiest contract I've ever seen. Hoyoverse has been incredibly patient with the strike. If anyone is fighting a losing battle, it's SAG. Hoyo isn't going to budge. That seemed to have upset someone else as they say, let's defend the billion-dollar company together, guys, let's go. To which that other user responds, saying if you actually read into it, in this situation, Hoyoverse is in the right. This is something that we've discussed a number.
Just because they're in the right doesn't mean they're morally correct at the end of the day. I will say that, man. No, you're allowed to criticize Hoyo for basically putting their bottom line to be the dollar that they make out of customers, man. Imagine being so terrible that you make a multi-dollar company, right? I mean, I don't like supporting corpos in that sense that they can just do whatever they want because that's their prerogative, but at the same time, it's like, that's what's going to happen. I don't like that people are getting replaced by AI, but at the same time, you are going about it in such an incorrect way that you are kind of ruining it for everyone else. And making it worse. People are taking the quote-unquote scab side because you're such a fucking freak and you harass them over basically having a job, and it's not even their fucking fault at this point.
Number of times in the past too, how SAG-AFTRA and a number of the union VAs have come off so unlikable that people are actually defending the corporation in this example, something that is very rare, but that SAG-AFTRA and those VAs managed to accomplish through how unlikable they are. Congratulations.
Yeah,
we'll take a look at
like
a few more examples here. This one saying, it was revealed by Rio's VA that it was just the VA's own volition to strike in hopes of getting Hoyo to sign that for better treatment. The better treatment being the agreement that's really, bad agreement for Hoyoverse and bad for non-union VAs.
And also basically implying that if you don't agree with this, you should be beat up. Yeah. Sounds valid. Sounds good! Fair.
It was a group effort done by them, the
fair?
union VAs, rather than being orchestrated by SAG-AFTRA, since Hoyo games weren't supposed to be involved. Joe Zija referring to this action as a collective work refusal. The current video game strike, the official one by SAG-AFTRA, is against a number of major Western gaming companies. According to my recollection, companies such as Electronic Arts, Warner Brothers, etc., etc. Now, it does seem like SAG-AFTRA is involved on some level, aside from just having their members involved, with the collective work refusal against Hoyoverse games, as we have seen them trying to act as a mediator, a middleman of sorts, with getting the work refusal's demands sent over to Hoyoverse and asking Hoyoverse to sign said demands. Some people speculate that they have more involvement, some less, but factually from what we have seen, they're at the very least trying to get this whole contract forwarded and signed by Hoyo. Ultimately, whatever the case may or may not be, it is still important to remember that SAG is a union built by its members. So by default, by talking about SAG-AFTRA you are still also talking about its members. Some people try to draw like a very clear distinction between the union and the VAs, but the union is made up of the VAs. Now, if we go into further detail, of course, there's like a hierarchy, so to speak, with some members not having much involvement. Maybe they just vote here and there. Others are bringing in significant amount of money and get things like healthcare benefits, but around 85% of members, according to my recollection, don't qualify for the minimum income to get benefits. So there's like...
Oh, you have to earn a certain amount of money as a person in order to be a part of the members union. Yeah, of course you do, because how else would they get their money?
Varying degrees here, of course.
Yeah.
And then there's people who are voted in to have like these executive positions at the union and whatnot.
Seriously.
Regardless, though, it is ultimately made up of the members, and some of those are actors, some voice actors. You get the point. What's interesting is when you see lots of people trying to put all the blame on SAG-AFTRA itself and act like the VAs are all innocent when, as we just discussed, the union is built up of its members. And furthermore, as you can see here and elsewhere on the internet, such as Reddit, etc., some people try and cite Erica, the VA for Venti, as proof that SAG is forcing VAs to do certain things and that they don't have free will of their own. For example, this comment that reads, VAs that are part of the union could get...
No, they do have free will, but if they leave, then they're going to get blasted on fucking Blue Sky. Just like the guy that they bullied. That's why this tactic works so very well with mentally ill people that don't understand or have the capacity to stand up for themselves.
Blacklisted by SAG-AFTRA.
Yes, and blacklisted. Yes, he was just about to say that conveniently.
If they continue to work. Venti's VA confirmed they are being sent threatening emails by the union. There's a lot more to it, but yeah, VAs are not the main people to blame. Well, in some cases, they are. In some cases, VAs have outspokenly bootlicked for the union and harassed people like Jacob Takanashi. In such cases, absolutely the VAs are also to blame because they're enabling the predatory behavior going on at SAG-AFTRA and harassing people who would stand up to SAG-AFTRA. And this is something that has also happened to Venti's VA. So I find it kind of messed up actually that this person is mentioning Erica here, the VA for Venti, but only mentioning the threatening letters part because it helps their argument as they try to paint all the VAs out as like innocent when Venti's VA Erica actually got harassed by other VAs on Blue Sky when she began to expose SAG. And those VAs were even saying things like Erica deserves to get those letters, and they were trying to downplay them, being like, oh, the letters aren't threatening. This is just...
I wasn't actually telling you to throw yourself off a building, but I was implying it, basically. No, it makes it that much better.
That's what happens. Erica deserves this. So give Erica the credit that she deserves for going up against the corrupt VAs and their corrupt union, and stop enabling the predatory behavior. All right, now let's get some Blue Sky anger. We've got this post that says,
is this a furry profile picture? I think it looks like a bunny.
I've been hearing murmurings that the English voices for Stell and Kalis in Honkai Star Rail have been recast. Regardless of whether that's true, I just need to reiterate my disappointment in the fandom response.
No one cares. They're going to just keep giving them money because they make a good game for them. God, man, these people are so fucking stupid. McDonald's fucking chops down trees to fucking ruin the Amazon forest in order to create more soy oil for them to make and fry fries for their customers. People don't want to destroy the planet, but they do it anyway because they make tasty fries. No one fucking cares about the fucking end product. That's the problem.
That so many people are so ghoulish as to not care about the livelihoods of the VAs that literally give voice to the main characters
literally
of their favorite game because how dare they have to play a game for a few months missing some voice acting.
Yeah, they just want their fries.
I mean, that's part of it, but you're also ignoring how people just didn't like being manipulated by VAs that were lying to them about their demands and what they were trying to do to Hoyo and non-uni VAs. It's funny how this is so often left out by people who are trying to always defend the strike and SAG.
It's time to drop Honkai Star Rail and all of my Hoyo's other games. Guys, my 20-like post, it's gonna change the world.
Mindless, petulant black holes of content consumption, and I can't stay. It won't make a difference, but I won't be giving Hoyo any more of my time. It's time to drop Honkai Star Rail and all of MiHoYo's other games. You can see they open with their rage post here with a really gross analogy, and then go on to say, quote, the voice actor union is actually bad on, quote, if you don't get bent. So,
a veiled little threat. Yeah.
Are they just defending SAG there? Is that what they're trying to like get at, I guess? Quote, they aren't grateful, unquote. Dude, it's a job, you know, the thing neither of us have. And
I hate people who subtweet like this. You're such a fucking loser.
they get really mad at this post in particular. Looks like it's from Reddit, where this person says, Hoyo has shown more patience than nearly other companies who would fire anyone not working.
True.
Especially when there is no official union strike against any Hoyo games. It's unfortunate that it's come to this, but I'm not surprised by the decision after all being unvoiced for so long. Response reading, especially since Honkai Star Rail is a game with 8 hours story patch every patch. It genuinely hurts their whole game because it ruins some people's immersion on the story. They simply can't wait any longer since we're closing on the ending of the first half of Amorphous. Actually that's Amphorious, I think, my bad. They closed their rant by saying, I don't write about games much anymore except for my own blogs, so I feel okay making fun of these people.
Why do you care if you don't write about games? I don't care, but I need to voice my opinion on this.
Well, I mean, all we really got out of this is that you're defending a corrupt union, so congratulations, I guess. But look at this.
Yeah,
elsewhere on Blue Sky, there were some people actually defending Hoyoverse.
This reminds me of V-tweeting. You know those people that never, or they barely stream, they maybe like stream 10 hours a month, and they're like, guys, I'm a real VTuber. I'm part of the VTuber community. I'm like, bitch, where? Where are you part of the VTuber community? Where? I'm looking around, I don't see you in the VTuber community.
For example, this person says,
at
this point, voice actors getting recast like that in Hoyo games don't feel so surprising. It just feels so hurtful that they can just throw people away like that. All they want is protection. Is it that hard? Sigh. Well, once again, we know they want a lot more than that. But this response says, what could have happened when you refused to work for no...
This all boils down to a really old tactic that politicians use in every country, by the way, not just America. I'm just like, this is a broad stroke fact. They create a massive stack of papers and they say, okay, this bill does XYZ, which is good. Everyone is like, wow, this is awesome. And then you actually peel back the paper and there's like 200 pages underneath that is like, but we're also going to do all these other things that are either going to change or make everything worse. And you're like, wait a minute, you're trying to act like this is all a bulk thing and it's all good, but then it's like a bunch of shit that the public isn't actually aware of unless they fucking read through everything.
Valid and official reason.
It's a good tactic.
In this exchange, we can see someone says, as much as I didn't want it to happen, they withheld work.
Pops, thank you
it
for the
was
raid!
bound to happen.
Thank you so much.
It's been ridiculous to not have the main character voiced since 2.6, 4 patches. I'm not celebrating them losing the roles, but I am happy to finally have the character voiced again. No hate their way or the Nouviers.
Yeah.
Ignoring the fact that most video
League of Legends profile picture, let's go.
Games went on voice/minimal VAing back in the day just so you can rip on people's livelihoods is real rich. Bro.
Wait, what? So you can rip on people's livelihoods. I hope you lose your job to AI one day. You know what I would say to this guy? I'd be like, yeah, probably. But it doesn't concern me right now.
This person was so respectful about it, and this guy is still getting enraged, like seething over it. Oh my gosh, it gets worse. Look at this. I hope you lose your job to AI one day, and I hope AI prevents you from finding another one. Holy smokes, dude. The SAG-AFTRA bootlickers are crazy. They're always so like mad and weird sounding, man. What are you on about? I know you aren't talking about the strike against MiHoYo, and back in the day, my guy, the strike hasn't even passed a year. I know critical thinking is hard for kids these days.
I hate it when people do this and you're probably just the same age as they are. It's so much seething. Like, my guy, you're very likely very close in the same bracket in the age that we're, like, you're trying to argue with. Just, you're such a dumb fuck. Okay, yeah.
But we can't hold your hand through anymore.
Kids, then you're an
Not that I expect much from a selfish redacted. Bro, are you stupid? You didn't even make a point to begin with. Go ahead and reread what I wrote and come up with something that actually is relevant to what I said, instead of digging up insults, you dunce. One last thing we'll take a look at here. Do you remember months back near the beginning of this whole situation, when a number of VAs went to Reddit to try and defend SAG-AFTRA and the strike by continuing to spread a false narrative, to which people on Reddit called them out, some simply asking questions, and these VAs responded by either dodging and not answering, and or blocking people, or giving like manipulative lies as a response, to which they got mass downvoted? Well, we'll take a look at this comment from 2 months ago really quick, and you'll see why in a second. Reads, they can't see it on Blue Sky. I asked a few of them to clarify, and they called me names, said I was anti-worker and pro-billion-dollar company, and blocked me. Kit Harrison, Cher Kirby both did, since I was replying to a thread where they were both in. Blue Sky is great as a safe space for the vileness of Twitter, but I think a lot of people treat it more like a blog than social media. The reason we're taking a look at this again is because I was thinking of a number of the VAs who were on Reddit trying to defend the strike and all that stuff, and I did recall Kit Harrison. So I went over to Blue Sky to Kit Harrison's account to see...
Oh, cheese and crackers. Hashtag Gymrat, hashtag BuyFurious, Neurospicy. Chat, I have a feeling that we're gonna read something really fucking dumb and flag in bio.
If he had anything to say about the recent recast. And they're actually...
I know actual bi people, they never say this shit. BuyFurious?
Actually, wasn't anything that I saw. Doesn't seem like he's talking about it. But there is one thing that I thought was rather interesting and gives some insight onto the VA work. That being this post where he talks about money. The context is, he says, 2 days ago, was driving home yesterday and a pheasant flew headlong into my wing mirror from the side. Heck of a shock. You shouldn't dwell on these things, but if I was driving at any different speed, it would have been way, way worse. Watch out for low-flying birds, kids. First of all, bro, sucks what happened to your car, but that takes us to the quote that he made of that post where he adds onto it saying, Arg, 75 euros for a new wing mirror and 450 euros for a new door window.
Holy shit, that's a
Anyone
lot.
needs circa 1 hour of high quality voice acting. So you're telling me these guys actually get paid? Like, this guy is trying to get paid what is like close to $600 USD for an hour of voice acting?
I feel like these jobs are so overinflated. I'm not trying to say that he's a bad voice actor. Maybe he does a pretty good job. I'm just saying, like, it's not really a one-to-one, like, saying high-quality voice work is, like, an hour's worth of work is $600. I genuinely don't think so. It's so overinflated, man.
And no offense to this guy, but he's not exactly a household name. Doesn't exactly have, like, a big credit list here. And still wants like six.
I've never heard of these characters. Smite. Oh, I did play Smite, but like, I just wait. Dying Light, 2015. Isn't that game dead? Dying Light, 2015. Didn't it suck or something? No, Dying Light was good, wasn't it? I can't remember, man. It's been 10 years since this game came out. At any rate, I don't think it's worth $600. Dying Light 1 was great. The sequel sucked. Yeah, it was the sequel that was really bad. Oh, now I'm remembering. I was like, didn't it suck or something? But then I looked and it wasn't bad. Yeah, the 2 was bad. Okay.
And still wants like 600 USD around? For around an hour of VA work? Is that really what these people are trying to charge?
Yeah, because they think they're like all those voice actors that voice really big characters and that they're worth the same amount of value. Do you realize that those voice actors are very likely really good at their job and you're probably just like, a little bit above average? You're probably not worth the 600 pounds an hour, by the way. What the fuck?
That's just crazy in my opinion. So yeah, please let me know what you guys think about that. Am I reading that wrong, or is he really trying to charge like 600, just about 600
Maybe
USD for an hour VA work?
I don't know.
And it takes me back too, really quick, to
it just reminds me of people that see Brad Pitt getting like paid like $5 million for like a movie, and then they're like, I want $5 million for a movie too. That kind of thing.
Something I covered months ago, where there was the what was that? What was that creepypasta thing? Ben Drowned, I think. Yeah, the creator of Ben Drowned put out a like ad for like needing some background voices, and a bunch of people on Twitter were mad with what he was trying to pay, asking for like hundreds of dollars just to say a few lines. And
I ain't gonna hold you. I think that a McDonald's worker is worth more than most voice actors in terms of effort. Do you know how much it sucks to work at McDonald's? My brother worked at a Pizza Hut and he said he fucking hated it. Thank God I never worked in fast food, but every single person I've ever talked to says it's horrible.
And that sounds so crazy then. But apparently, yeah, these people really do think they should get like paid hundreds for a few lines, or like 600 for an hour.
Fuck.
I don't know.
I don't think even doctors get paid $600 an hour. What the fuck?
Man, I don't know. I don't think it's a great look, but maybe I'm reading it wrong. I don't think I am, but if I am, let me know in the comments, and let me know what you think about all this stuff, including that little bonus at the end. Little insight into the VA stuff here. Hope you enjoyed the coverage. If you did, please consider liking and or subscribing to the channel. Have a wonderful rest of your week, and I'll see you in the comments as well as in the next one.
Yeah. Chad, I want to get paid $1 million an hour. Just being a cute anime girl. That's how it works, right? That's how it works. I remember Assassin's Creed is the famous VA talking about shiitake. Wasn't that AI though? Like, have we confirmed that or not? Guys, go check them out. Go check out Hirohe.